A fifth of the population, that is 1 million people, have now been displaced after Israeli airstrikes and a ground invasion. 400,000 people have crossed the border into Syria to escape the violence, officials say. And this includes students from the Alsama project, which teaches illiterate children in the Shatila refugee camp in the capital Beirut. The project has had to suspend its operations because of continued Israeli strikes. Well, we're joined now by Maike Ziervogel, the chief executive and co-founder of the project, who is in Beirut for us. Welcome to Newsday. Just tell us briefly a bit about the project and how the attacks from Israel have affected your operations.
Yes, good morning. So Alsama Project is a charity registered in Lebanon, UK and the US. We run 4 schools, 2 in Shatila and 2 in the Burj Barajna camp in the south of Beirut. And overall, we have 880 students. They come to us as illiterate teenagers, and within 6 years, we get them ready to university. So we've developed a special curriculum. Now, what has happened, of course, over the last 10 days is that the majority of our students have been dispersed. Also, a lot of our teachers, Lebanese, Syrian, and Palestinians, are now had to move their homes. And a number of our students have gone back to Syria, which, of course, I think most of them really didn't want to do. They're scared. They're scared to lose their education. And what we've done is we had to close our schools in the 2 camps. But of course, we haven't suspended our education activities. I mean, that's really important because even as the students were basically literally fleeing out of the camps, they were calling us saying, please, please, we don't want to give up on education. This has happened to us before once when they had to flee Syria. We want to hold on to this chance.
So you're teaching them on the phone?
Well, yes. So at the moment, what we're doing is teach them via WhatsApp. Some of them have now got Zoom access here in Lebanon, but very few. So we've changed really fast. Luckily, in some ways, we had some methods to fall back on to, of course, during COVID, during various other lockdowns. But this is a challenge. We've also now have topped up everyone's SIM card because of our students are from, bottom of the pyramid, really. Something that you and I might consider very easy, that we charge our phone, have enough charge on our SIM card. This is not necessarily given to our students, but we did manage within 3 days to make contact with all our students, topped up their SIM cards. And that means the teachers can send the lessons and the students can access it when they get Wi-Fi access. And we have remarkable students.
Well, we're going to hear from one of your students now, actually. Maram, who fled Syria to Lebanon some years ago with her family when Islamic State dominated large swathes of Syria. I think she left when she was 13. She's now about 17, 18, and she has been forced to go back to Syria because of the Israeli strikes on Lebanon.
Hello everyone, it's Maram. I am in Syria now. I am in a safe place, but not in a safe environment. I mean, when I first arrived here in Deir ez-Zor, in my village, people forced me and my sister to wear long clothes again. And they said, you have to stop your education. And of course, my sister and I refused. We will not stop our education journey because you don't care about education. Here, the life a bit difficult. No internet access, no electricity. Actually, if I want to study the lessons that Alsama send on WhatsApp, I have to wait till the midnight and I sneak under a tree with my sister with the phone's light and study the lessons and do my homework. Because during the day, I can't open a book in front of all these people here. They will cut the books, they will throw them. All these hard circumstances will not stop me, and I will not let them stop me from achieving my goal, which is to graduate from Alsama and go to university in 2026.
That was Maram there, talking about the pretty stark impact that the decision to leave Lebanon for Syria is having on her education. Maike, when you hear that, how do you feel?
I mean, I was not able to really listen to or even think about Maram, or each time I would do that, tears would come up. I'm now, of course, now we're dealing with it. And like Maram, we as Alsama are, of course, absolutely determined to help Maram and her peers to arrive at their goal to get to university in 2026. And I mean, these students are in some ways our inspiration, because they have, I always say, refugee communities, especially the young people like Maram, have all the talent that settled communities have, let's say that my children have. But what they have in addition is the determination and the perseverance. So Maram knows she has an opportunity here, and she's absolutely determined to hold on to it. And I'm just so awe-inspired. And that, of course, helps Alsama to push forward, to find solutions. Because, yes, as we know, education is always the first thing that goes during war. It's usually the thing that closes first, schools. And this is what also Maram experienced. She went to school, I think primary school, 2 years in Syria. Then the schools closed, never reopened again. So when she came to us, nearly 4 years ago now, she was illiterate in her own language, let alone she couldn't speak a single word of English. And now you hear her just so beautifully expressing very calmly her circumstances. And I know that she's, for example, putting on a brave face, because she and her sister and a number of other girls are absolutely scared, not just that education is going to be taken away, but they are now once again faced with the possibility of having, of being forced into marriage.
Do you think she'll
And this
come
is
back to
something-
Lebanon?
Sorry?
Do you think she'll come back to Lebanon?
She would come back in a shot, because she wants to, for her, Lebanon is everything, it means opportunity, means education. She wants to come back as soon as she can possibly can. And this is what we are working on to try to negotiate that.
You've told us about the impact on your project. What about the impact of the conflict on schools more broadly across the country?
Yes, so I think 40% of all Lebanese students are displaced at the moment. The private schools, I think, have started reopening around the country. The problem is with state schools, which is of course the most important schooling in the country. They will remain closed until at least mid-November, because of course they're housing all the displaced people from the south. So again, this is an absolute tragedy. I mean, for example, Alsama, what we are planning to do, even before the war, we were planning, to start opening up schools and centers outside the camps. Because, of course, over the last 5 years, in particular in Lebanon here, with the economic crisis, with the harbor explosion, and so on, there are a lot of teenagers now, Lebanese teenagers, that are illiterate. And I think we, as Alsama, know if we can open up enough places, then we can actually really affect a change. Because, only through education, I think we will start making a difference.
Thank you very much indeed for your time. Really appreciate it. That's Mike Azir Vogel there, the Chief Executive of the Alsama project, which has 4 schools across Lebanon.